will go up. And remember, India offers one of the cheapest datas anywhere in the world. That's one of the reasons why Vodafone went under when Jio came up with very interesting data plans that were cheaper. More and more customer acquisition was made. Jio is currently leading the market, but the pangs of cheap data is hurting Airtel, it's hurting Vodafone, not so much maybe Jio at this point in time. That is one of the discussion that prevailed on the sidelines of the India Mobile Congress, where telecos congregated to discuss the roadmap ahead and also the feasibility of cheap data. How long can they afford to roll out cheap data without government intervening to help them either cut out on license cost, help them monetize on 5G network very, very soon. Those were a part of discussions to lower the pressure on telecos.
So, Shweta, I think, the broad commentary out there in the world right now is higher for longer. We're talking about interest rates. I think the commentary for India's telcos is cheaper for longer. How long can you really afford to offer cheap data? Let's look at some numbers. What is the average revenue per user of the three broad telcos, right? You've got market leaders, Jio and Airtel, and you've got laggards like partly government-owned now Vodafone Idea, led by Kumar Mangalam Birla's Aditya Birla Group. And you've also got VSNL, BSNL, MTNL, the entire government pack, the PSU pack of telcos. Now, what are the average revenue per user numbers? Jio right now has an ARPU of about 182 rupees. Right. Compare this last year quarter, September quarter of Jio, you had an ARPU of about 177. So there has been a broad sort of 5 rupee up in ARPU, but that is actually lower than inflation. So technically speaking, ARPU has not really gone up, decoupled with the rate of inflation. Now compare this with Airtel and Vodafone. Airtel has an ARPU a little higher than Jio at about 200 rupees. Now, compare this with Vodafone. Vodafone is lagging behind at 142 rupees. Now, the point is, Jio has got deep pockets and Jio wants to continue keeping data, as Akash Ambani said, as well as Matthew Omen, the CTO of Jio, said that they want to keep affordable accessibility for longer. So, Jio has the wherewithal to keep data cost low and penetrate into what it is calling the 2G Mukt Bharat. So, 2G, offered by cheap data offered by Vodafone, BSNL, MTNL, Airtel, etc. That's the market that Jio really wants to go after. And it can go after that market if it offers 5G services or 5G speeds at the same price at which it is at which the customers are being offered 2G, 3G speeds by competitors. So Jio is very clear; it doesn't want to increase data tariffs. Airtel and Vodafone both want to increase data tariffs. Airtel is saying that a sustainable ARPU would be about 300 rupees. At the same time, the Cellular Operators of India Association, COAI DG, has come on record and said that even though India has been among the fastest rollouts in terms of 5G, that 5G speed has not translated to 5G revenues. So revenues have not, gone up in sync with data speeds going up with the advent of 5G. Now, at the same time, Ashwini Vaishnav, Telecom Minister, is saying that India wants to continue being a country which offers the cheapest data in the world. Now, India's ARPU, roughly average out at about 180 rupees a month or so, is actually the cheapest in the world when you look at global ARPU ranging between 600 to 850 rupees in INR terms. Dollar conversion. Even competitor China, our neighbor, hostile neighbor China, has an ARPU of about 580 rupees. Compare that to about 180 rupees for India. Government is very keen that, disbursement of cheap data happens. You're able to use these, multiple applications which ride on data.
But now, this is a conundrum, come to think of it, Kartik. On one hand, we want data to be cheap, accessible, democratized data. On the other hand, telecos are taking a beating. It hurts their revenue. It hurts their bottom line. Where do you come at a consensus?
So I think markets will have to define what the ARPU will be. The deeper your pockets, the more you're able to subsidize data, the longer you'll be able to run in this race, and the more likely you are to win that race of cheap data and aggregating, acquiring a lot of customers who ride on that to, in any case, offset the capital investments that you've made. So one simple line theory, I think, there's no doubt Jio is going to continue to be the front runner when it comes to cheap data. It is going to continue to eat into the market of Airtel and Vodafone. Airtel will find it more difficult. It will continue bleeding. Vodafone, I don't know what is going to happen to
Are we
Vodafone.
heading towards a monopoly in the
duopoly,
sector?
definitely in the short
We
term.
are here.
A monopoly, I don't know. Are we going to become, will the government permit the telecom sector to become a monopoly? We don't know. But there's an interesting proposition again, which is being discussed between the telcos, which is that there are 4 or 5 apps which are responsible for maximum data being used by users. And perhaps a case should be made for these apps to actually pay telcos.
Interesting.
So they haven't named these apps, but to my mind, I think
we
YouTube
know.
is going to be one of them. Facebook is going to be one of them.
X.
Facebook, Insta, X, I don't know. I think, you know, it doesn't have too much video being consumed as opposed to maybe now it would.
Will,
But
yes.
I think YouTube, the entire Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram combined, these are going to be some apps where I think telcos are expecting some sort of a policy measure where, while for the users data continues to be cheap, some part of that gets offset by these large data consuming apps.
Not sure if that's going to happen anytime soon. There's going to be a huge pushback from these social media
Sure.
giants. But that, of course, is one of the suggestions that telecos are making. Telecos at this point in time bleeding under pressure from very little to no margins and trying to find a way forward as far as telecom sector in India is concerned.